Hey guys, welcome back. So there's a new T-16 Skyhopper replica that's being sold exclusively at the Disney parks, and it's only $40. So had to get one and compare it to my T-16 that's basically made with all the original model parts that Colin Cantwell used to put together the original one for A New Hope. So it's very, very accurate. The kit was actually made by a buddy of ours, Jason Eaton, who is a very talented model maker that's worked for Lucasfilm and just does amazing work. So I figured let's take it out and compare it next to that one. And right out of the box, it's pretty easy to put together. Basically, it just the wings clip on, the sail part clips on, and it's ready to go. Now, my first impression out of the box is that the size is pretty much the same. So it is absolutely a replica of the T-16 from A New Hope. And one of my favorite details is this little broken antenna, because the one that sits in the archives actually has this same broken antenna. So that little antenna, originally Colin Cantwell had a full piece there, but over time in the archives, it actually snapped off. So I replicated mine based on how it sits in the Lucasfilm archives. So it's actually pretty cool that they did that little detail. So as you could tell, to the naked eye, right? And especially if you haven't built one of these or you're not very familiar with them, you would think they look pretty much the same. But I do see some, just some little imperfections, some things that are off. But yeah, let's compare it side by side and go back and forth and see if we can spot any major differences. Right off the bat, I could tell that it's missing a decal. You see how it has the little door hatch, the escape hatch, exit sign, whatever, on the kind of middle part of the window. This one's missing it. So that right there is kind of the first major difference that I noticed. Other than that, it looks like they got most of the pieces, right on. I can't really seem to find anything that's off. Now, when we go back and forth and compare it, I do want to point out that my motor, or the long gun, is actually with the little chrome parts upwards. Now, there's a lot of pictures of this T-16 throughout the years in the archives and throughout some of the tours, like the museum tours. And so there's pictures that you could see, some of them have it on the top, some of them have it on the bottom. I chose to do it on the top. So just a heads up, as we're going back and forth and comparing it, I actually did my motor with the little silver parts on top. They did it on the bottom. I can't seem to find any major differences. They got all the major parts on there. Even the stand, the stand was actually custom made by Jason Eaton to replicate the brass stand that Colin Cantwell used. And Disney did a pretty good job at replicating that. Now, I don't believe it's metal. It doesn't feel like metal, but it actually looks pretty good. I can tell there's a split right there in that little circle part that kind of holds the long gun. I know the original model part does not have that split, so there's that. What else? Here I'm putting them side by side so you can see the same side that again, mine is upside down, so you could kind of see that all the parts are there and they're all there. Now here's the other side of it, and it looks pretty good. Honestly, look, for $40, you can't go wrong with this thing. Honestly, like for $40, this is insane that you can have, a decent prop replica, especially if you do a couple upgrades here and there. You might be able to get it more screen accurate. And here is the original one. As you can see, there's this little kind of like scuff marks off to the side. It's missing the scuff marks and it's missing the exit sign. But we could fix that right now in a little bit, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to weather this up. I'm going to change the decals, and I'm just going to, just kind of make it a little bit better. The one thing, as you can see there, the little driver's control panels on the like the desk, those are missing on the Disney ones. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to tear it apart to, put those decals in there. Or maybe I could, and maybe I'll, one day I'll try, but it doesn't seem like I'd be able to get in there. Now here's the back side of it. And like I said, they got all the major parts. It does look more like they molded it, right? Obviously they did it to mass produce them. So I'm sure there had to have been some concessions made there. That middle circle part is actually a vintage, like tape dispenser for like splicing film. So I ended up picking up an original one from that era. So mine is actually, an original vintage one. And then the little rim and side too. I ended up picking up one of the models where that piece came from. And I just put an original one in there just to have some, not lineage, but some original found parts in there. So as you can see, the back part, it's a little cluttered there. It looks more like I said, like they molded it, or they did in a way they could mass produce them, of course. Mine is all individual little parts that were glued together. So of course it's going to look more detailed. But overall, the size looks, spot on. All the major details are there. And like I said, for just displaying purposes, this looks great. I think what we'll do is, we'll throw a little weathering in there. The colors are a little bit off. It's supposed to be more of a white, creamy white color. The Disney one ended up being a little more on the gray side, which, you can probably fix that, paint a little bit, or, I don't know, maybe like dry rub some lighter paint on there to make it, just a little lighter. So there is a color difference, but hey, look, if you have the courage to repaint it, that'd be great. For $40, if you mess it up, it's only $40 that you're playing with. So, I would do it. If you really wanted to make it a little more accurate, there's definitely ways to make this very accurate. But overall, I'm very surprised by this. For $40, man, can't go wrong. So I got a tape measure just to make sure, some of the pieces were the same size. And basically it's, fractions of an inch difference, but they're basically the same size. So this is in fact a replica of the model that Luke is playing with in A New Hope. So even the little guys there, the little drivers, they did a pretty good job at replicating them. Like I said, it's just missing the control panels on the desk. It's kind of weird that they didn't put them on there, even though they put the ones on the side. But there you go. And this is the original one. So you could see that's how the original one is. But let's make it better. So Jason Eaton, who spent years with the group of other people on the RPF researching all the original found parts and all the kit parts to make this T-16, also did a set of decals. And I'm going to link his shop in the description. So if you wanted to upgrade this, you can go get those decals there. They're water slides. And all you really have to do on this one is I put a little bit of hand sanitizer because I had enough alcohol in it to kind of just help dissolve or loosen up the sticker. And then I just kind of, with some friction with my nail, just anything that wouldn't scratch the actual model, you just scrape it off and it basically comes right off. You got to work it a little bit, but it'll come off. And then what I did is I just took Jason's water slides and then just kind of reapplied them and applied them where, I kind of could see that they would match the screen used one. So I was using a reference obviously there, so I could kind of see roughly where they sit in relation to the rest of the models. The water slides, they're relatively easy to use. Jason's water slides are great. They're really simple. I said probably just drop a couple of little drops of dish soap just give you some so you're able to move them around before they dry up. So I went ahead and put the little exit signs on there to make it more accurate. Now let's weather it a little bit. And the goal here is not to make it super dirty. All I really want to do is kind of bring some accents to the lines. So you want it really watery, so the paint gets in the little cracks and all the little score marks. And basically that's all you do. You keep on doing that. Just like basic weathering technique, you put it on and you wipe it off. You put it on, you wipe it off. So it's a whole layering system. Also right here, that's the heavier weathered part on this little section. Obviously don't get carried away here. And then my decal wasn't fully dried there, so I had to take it off a little bit. But like I said, all you're doing is just putting it in there so it goes into the score marks, to the cracks, and then you're literally just wiping it off. You don't want to go overboard with the weathering on this one, because the original one in the archives is not heavily weathered. I just wanted to make it look dirty, like it was, it's been around since the 70s, right? Again, even with the motor and all this stuff, the original one is not heavily weathered. So all I'm doing is just giving it a little bit of just accents here and there, just to make it a little more weathered. Now I'm going to just add the score marks there, just, to make it look a little more accurate. Now here, my lighting, I ended up kind of lowering the lighting on my phone. So the colors are actually, they look a little off. It looks like mine looks a little darker, which it is, but I think this camera view just made it look kind of more than it really is. They're actually very close in color to each other. Mine is not as dark as it appears on this one. But again, this thing is beautiful, and for $40, you can't go wrong. I really, really, really encourage you to go get one, whether it's on eBay or through the Disney parks or whatever, because this is a great replica. Like I said, all you need is just a couple little upgrades to make it look more accurate, and it's ready to go. So again, for $40, you cannot beat that. It's great. It's great for the price. So great job, Disney. Rarely do we get like a kind of good replica out of Disney, and this one, they knocked it out of the park. So great job. So there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this comparison. I know I kind of just rambled on today, but I wanted to show you the differences and show you how I kind of upgraded it. But don't forget to subscribe, like, and look out for the next video. Thanks.